The woman suffers from severe binge eating disorder. Every time an episode occurs, she would go alone to a hotel and book a room, then lay out a large pile of snacks she had bought in advance on the bed. Next comes the most important step. She would strip off all her clothes. Only in this way can she fully immerse herself in the following process. The woman picks up a large hamburger, devouring it in 2 or 3 bites. Then comes the second one, and soon, all the snacks that had cost a pretty penny were swept clean by her. Only then does she feel somewhat satisfied. But unknowingly, she has also spent all the family's money. A check at the bank reveals that the family's entire savings amount to only $57. At this moment, Sheila suddenly realizes that she knows she should change this habit. By chance, Sheila discovers a strange shop with a pink entrance at the mall. Inside are glamorous young ladies everywhere. She watches them swaying endlessly to the rhythm of the music, their youthful energy deeply captivating her. Unconsciously, Sheila joins in too. But as she was jumping, Sheila actually fainted directly. When she woke up, she found herself in an unfamiliar room. A woman was sitting in the room. It was exactly the dance teacher from the classroom yesterday. The girl said her name was Benny. Yesterday, it was she who moved the unconscious Sheila here. At that moment, a woman's roar suddenly came from next door. Benny said that was her boyfriend Taylor shooting an action movie. Then she came up to Sheila and asked who exactly had sent her here. It turned out Benny suspected Sheila was someone sent by a certain dance institution to secretly learn the dance steps, because she had seen Sheila following her since the afternoon. Sheila said no one had instructed her. She had just barged in by pure coincidence. But her explanation did not convince Benny. Just at that moment, the shooting next door also stopped. Sheila curiously asked if the two of them lived here. Benny was somewhat evasive, but her boyfriend Taylor was very candid. Because this room was a mall basement rented by Taylor, the mall regulations did not allow people to live here. The two of them, to save some expenses, so they could only live here secretly. Upon hearing this, Sheila suddenly had an idea. Because her husband had recently been laid off, and their own family savings were almost depleted. Her husband was about to run for election. Campaigning for state representative was another huge expense. So Sheila decided to go all the way. She demanded $1,000 from Benny. Otherwise, she would report to the mall that someone was living here against the rules, and even shooting adult films. Upon hearing this, the two were instantly at a loss. Benny had no choice but to tell his boyfriend to give her the money. Just like that, Sheila easily got $1,000 from Benny. The price was that Sheila was no longer allowed to audit classes, but because Sheila hadn't come home all night. Her husband Danny suspected his wife might have been fooling around somewhere. So Danny decided to follow his wife closely for a day, to see what his wife usually did after he went to work. Zena panicked upon hearing this. If her good-for-nothing husband found out that she did nothing but eat all day, that would cause an uproar. But if she refused him now, it would make him even more suspicious. There was no other way. Hera had no choice but to reluctantly agree. The next day, Zena sent her daughter to school as usual. What was different was her useless husband was standing right beside her. Immediately after, she still needed to deposit the $1,000 she had extorted yesterday into the bank, to avoid her husband discovering that she had squandered all the family savings. But when she got to the bank, the staff informed her that depositing over $1,000 required filing a record. Upon hearing this, Hera immediately said she wouldn't deposit it. At that moment, her husband outside was openly chatting up 2 pretty young women. Upon seeing his wife approach, he showed no sign of restraint. But having her husband constantly following her like this was no solution. So Hera came up with an idea. She would go back to auditing classes. That way, her husband wouldn't suspect her anymore. But how to explain it to Benny became the problem.